All right, so I'm standing by the front right wheel well on my 2019 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. So today I'm going to be installing the Diode Dynamics SS3 Sport fog lights, and I got the amber color, so they're the yellow ones. I have already removed the screws to kind of get at the passenger side fog light from behind the wheel well. So you don't have to take the bumper off to do this. All you have to do is remove a couple of screws on the back side of the wheel well. So there's one right here that I've taken out. If you go up, there's one right there that you have to take out, and then there's two down underneath in the front. So you can kind of see these two positions. So there's one right there and one right there, and you just got to take those screws out. So with those 4 screws, you can then just kind of pop the wheel well out from here, so you can access behind it to get to the fog light. So I'm not actually going to show you. I'm not going to show myself doing that, just because I kind of need 2 hands to do it. But I'm going to get that done, and then I'll move on to the next step here. Okay, so I've popped the inside of the wheel well off here. So now you can see in there, that's the back of the passenger side fog light. I'm not sure what that tape is hanging down, but I'll pull that out of there. So basically, we have to take that whole assembly out, and then we're going to swap out the OEM fog light for the Diode Dynamics. Okay, so to take the OEM fog light assembly out, there's actually a couple things you have to do. So number one, you have to disconnect the cable here. So to do that, the easiest way to do that is to get that tape out of there. I don't know where that came from. So the easiest way to do that is to actually remove the bulb. So that just pops right out like that, and now you can pretty easily disconnect the bulb from the cable, and then you can just kind of leave that cable hanging down. And then the next step is to you can see it here, but there's a metal clip up there that has to come undone. So you kind of squeeze the center of that metal clip together, and that kind of pops off. But before you do that, there's actually there's a 10mm bolt that'll be on the upper left-hand side, right up over here. And I can't really get a good view of it with the camera here, but that bolt has to be taken out first. Then the next step is to pop the clip out right here, and then there's a little pin kind of thing that's just kind of sitting into a little extruded pocket, and it just kind of pulls out from that. There's nothing really holding it in place. It's just kind of a passive locking mechanism on that lower right or lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that 10mm bolt up there. I'll use some needle nose pliers to squeeze that clip together so I can pop this side off, and then I'll pull that assembly out. Okay, so I got the OEM fog light assembly out. So next, what we have to do is remove these 3 screws here, and we're going to reuse the outer ring on this. So let me take those screws out. Okay, I've got those screws removed, and by the way, those are Torx head screws. So you're going to need a Torx driver to be able to remove those. I'm not exactly sure the size. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe a T8 or a T10, something like that. This is literally the only Torx bit that I had in my screwdriver set. And it doesn't. The thing is so rusted I can't tell what the number is on it. But if you have a set of Torx drivers, you'll be fine. So now that those screws have come out, it kind of separates. Next step is to separate the light assembly itself from the ring. So I'm going to go ahead and do that without filming it because I need 2 hands. Just wanted to show you how this thing comes apart. So there's actually these little clips on the side, and these 2 little extrusions right here are actually tucked under that outer clip, and it's the same on the other side. So you have to kind of pry outward on this little tab on either side to separate them. Okay, and there we've got them apart. See, so not too bad. It's a pretty easy process so far. So the next step, I'm just going to set this aside. I've actually already done the driver's side one, so I made all my mistakes and kind of learned on that one, so I can make the video on the passenger one here. But next step is to start assembling the Diode Dynamics lights here. So we can see the plug goes at the bottom. This is the top, this is the bottom. We have this bracket here that these these two little tabs here align with the holes in the side of the light. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Oops. There we go. Now you can see how that kind of lines up on the side there, so there's a little bit of slop. So the next step is to basically fasten those together. So there's a hardware kit that came with the Diode Dynamics set, and there's nylock washers in there, and the nylock washers drop down into these little slots right here and right here, with the nylon part facing in on either side, in this way, in this way. And the idea is that you want to tighten it down so the nylock grips the screws, but you really don't want to tighten any more than that. You actually want these two pieces to be a little bit loose. You really want the nylon to grab the bolt so it's not going to back out. But having that slop in there allows the fog lights to kind of self-align when you actually go to do the installation on the bumper. So I'm going to go ahead and put the hardware on here now. Okay, so I've got my hardware in there. So bolt, washer, and then nylock nut on the inside with the nylon facing toward the center of the light. Same on either side. I've got them on there so that the nylock has grabbed, but you can see I can still kind of spin this a little bit. This is free to slide in and out so that it can self-align when I go to put it in the bumper. Okay, so the next step is to assemble this to this, and to do that, you just kind of fish the front of the light through the wider spots, or the cutouts in the ring, and then make sure that the part that says top on the ring is oriented toward the top of the light, and then we're just going to put those Torx screws back in on the three locations here. Okay, so I've got my 3 Torx screws back in. Just one note here: keep in mind that when you're tightening these back up, you're threading into plastic, and these are really kind of they're kind of self-tapping screws almost. So just go easy on them. You don't need to crank them down. Just snug them up. And you can see that the whole ring kind of pivots around those 2 side screws, and this can kind of slide up and down a little bit, which is exactly what you want. Okay. So the next step is to I'm actually going to pop this cable in. So these cables come with the Diode Dynamics set. So I'm going to pop in this cable here. So we can do this one-handed until it clicks. So this little guy has to snap out. So as you're pushing it in, he's kind of in like that, and then once he clicks, then you should be good. And then another comment I want to make on this little cable is this is not a one-way plug. So in other words, it's a symmetric plug. So you can actually plug it in either direction into the cable that's in the bumper. So you want to be careful which way you plug it in. So it's actually labeled plus and minus on here. And so when you go to plug this into the cable that's inside the truck to power the light, you just want to make sure that the white wire aligns with the positive sign and the black wire aligns with the negative side. And you know, I'll show you the wire harness in there in a second. Okay, so here we are at the wire harness, and you can actually see just right next to the connector where there's a little bit of a gap from the electrical tape. Actually, this one's a little bit different here. So you actually have a pink and a blue. That's interesting. Well, I'll try this out, and I'll see if I can figure out which way it's supposed to go, and I'll let you know here in a second. All right, so I just tested this. So the way I have it plugged in right now is correct. So positive goes to the pinkish wire on my truck, and then the negative goes to the in the back of the connector, the blue one there. I think that wire is actually black or black and gray. So again, just make sure you plug it in the right direction. If you can do it right the first time, that's always good. On the driver's side, when I did the first light, I actually had it backwards. I tested it first, didn't work, switched it around, and it worked fine. So again, just something to be in mind, just something to keep in mind, and hopefully help you out so you're not wondering what's going on if the thing's not working. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed here. I'm not gonna film this just because it's kind of tight in there. I need 2 hands, but I'll show you the end result afterward. Okay, so I've got the Diode Dynamics light installed in there. As you can see, I've tie wrapped the cable out of the way just so it's not rattling around and hitting against the inside of the wheel well here. So to reinstall this thing, the order that I kind of did things is, number one, line up the metal clip over here on the right hand side, but don't push it in, just get it aligned, and then while holding that in place with one hand, with your other hand on the lower left, you want to get the little extrusion lined up with the tab down there, and just get that into position. Then once those two things are in position, then you take the 10mm bolt, kind of hold it in place with one hand, take the 10mm bolt with the other hand, and that goes in the upper left again, so it's up in this region. It's kind of hidden from view here, but get that started. Thread that in by hand as far as you can go, and then when you can't turn it anymore with your fingers, then push in the clip on the right hand side, get that snapped in place, and then go back and snug up the 10mm bolt up top with a 1/4" ratchet. So that's pretty much it. This one went, the passenger side went a lot faster than the driver's side for me. I had some issues. One of the screws was actually stripped out. This screw down here that holds the whole thing together, the air dam and the wheel well and everything was completely stripped out. So I spent probably a good 45 minutes trying to get that out without wrecking the plastic. But this one went a whole lot faster. So I did this install on the right hand side here, the passenger side, in probably 15 to 20 minutes. So it's a real easy install. If you don't have to deal with stripped hardware and all that. So anyway, I'm gonna get this thing buttoned back up. I just got to put those 4 screws back in. So this one, the one up here, and then the 2 on the front, and we're gonna call it good. So anyway, I hope this helped. Thanks for watching. I'm not gonna show you the beam pattern. There's plenty of videos out there that show it. You can find photos of it and everything, but they look pretty cool. So anyway, hope this helps, and thanks for watching.